account. I think a lot of the intelligence that goes a lot into that is the guys, I think, who are the most successful, like reproductively successful, let's just say, they understand the game and the nature of the game that they're in. They understand themselves. Like when you say, know thyself, right? Like they understand who they are. They understand what their strengths are and what their deficits are. And they understand how to either adapt to those things or just simply try to do an end run around those things. But I think it is a realistic understanding of the world that they are in. Now, I realize I know I'm going to get this, so I'm just going to go ahead and address this right now, because there's going to be black pill doomers who are going to go, but what if you're just born a loser and you're never going to, I was born with a toe sticking out of my forehead and I'm genetically weird or what, like that kind of, okay, there are outliers. You're correct. But if we're going to build a predictive framework here and we're going to say, here's some keys, elements to success, we have to take the general whole and not just the individual. I'm glad you're a little special snowflake, whether that's an advantage to you or a disadvantage to you. Great for you're whatever end of the bell curve you happen to be on. But you have to be realistic about the game that you're in. That's why we call it red pill awareness. You have to be aware of the game. You have to be aware of the conditions of the game, the rules of the game that you are playing, and learn how to master that game accordingly. So like when guys, you can sit there and say it's totally unfair that, Giga Chad gets all the chicks. Okay, well, great. What are you going to do about it? You're going to sit there and complain about it? Are you going to sedate yourself? Or are you going to find some way to either adapt to that or build yourself up around that? So like when I've always used this, and people hate it when I use this example, because there's nothing more Gen X than using like Lemmy from Motorhead as my example for like how like a guy who is ugly as sin. Let's be honest. You put Lemmy from Motorhead on Tinder right now, he does not get swiped, but he does not get selected for. Let's just be honest here. But the guy is, one of the most prolific guys when it comes to like being a rock star and having women and maybe not as many as Gene Simmons, but he's probably up there.
Well, he's not as old as Gene. Give him time.
Well, he's dead. No, Lemmy's dead now, but Gene might be able to catch him, right? We'll see. But again, these guys, and even Gene Simmons is a pretty good example too. Not good looking guys, genetically not very good looking, but they had, and even like you could even say, Gene Simmons is probably not the best bass player in the world, but he's one of the best rock stars in the world. And he figured shit out. He learned how to adapt to his situation. And as such, granted, does he have like 10,000 children spread across the world like Genghis Khan? No, probably not. But it's not about the breeding side. It's about the solving the reproductive problem side. You could also make an argument here, because I've done this before. The guy, there's actually, I think, 2 instances of this happening. The guy who's the scientist who works at, like, say, the fertility clinic, and he has essentially used his sperm to
didn't that happen in like Holland or something?
Yeah, in Holland or in Germany or something like that. I know it's in Europe. Something.
I wonder if Jack is one of those guys. Maybe Jack is one of the kids. Yeah.
And they didn't even catch this until they figured out that, all these girls are genetically related thanks to like 23andMe or something like that. That guy solved his reproductive problem. Did he bang all those? No, he didn't. But guess what? He, as reproductively, DNA wise, evolutionarily speaking, he's a smart son of a bitch who figured it out. Now he's probably going to go to jail or whatever for having done that. But guess what? Hypergamy don't care, and DNA don't care, and evolution doesn't care. Guess what? His genetic legacy will go off into perpetuity. And guys who are sitting there going, I just don't understand why girls won't get, I'm so smart. Well, if you're so smart, then why are you not figuring this stuff out for yourself? So
and see here, and where they take their intellect is very interesting to solve this problem. That guy more or less cheated. Okay. He cheated. He cheated the game. Did he win? He did, but he cheated the game. I've also, like, for example, I don't want to have kids, but the idea of like, Cappy's Gen X going on in the future, maybe. And my trick is I've offered my seed for $1.5 million after tax with a huge legal disclaimer. No girls have taken me up on it.
We're going to start a Kickstarter campaign right now.
No, you got to find. No, wait. You got to find a girl who's
read with Cappy for $1 million.
The girl would have to really, and half of that money would go to a huge legal disclaimer, like I ain't taking care of the kid and all that. But Aside from tricks or shtick like that, men are even going so far as to, like, you know, we always talk about TFM, but they're going to come up with the Stepford wives. They're going to come up with incubators. They're going to come up with what's the synthetic?
Yes,
synthetic
baby
uteruses.
pods.
Yeah, baby pods. I mean, they're going to be trying to go there. But I got a question. You know, it's kind of like Columbo. Just one more thing. Wouldn't it be easier just to go to the gym instead of spend 5 decades creating an incubator? I mean, why don't you just go to the gym? Seriously, why don't you just go and
capture that?
just, I mean, how hard do you? And I understand maybe you're afraid of it, but my gosh, what they will do. Or they'll create multi-billion-dollar, like, okay, the Elon Musk, Bezos, and Gates. Okay, those guys, their run around was, I'm going to make billions of dollars. Boy, you know, you could have saved a fraction of your time just hitting the gym instead of making billions of dollars. But now you're rich. I understand that, but it's kind of not rocket science. But they almost insist, like their intelligence insists and maybe because they find it intellectually interesting, but they really, that intelligence makes them do it the hard way, or the weird, creepy scientific horror show way with a birth pod. It's like, I don't know, man, maybe just set down the Mountain Dew and go for a 2-mile run to begin.
And I think another thing is, and this is a rationalization that I think that a lot of guys end up coming to, is like, not every guy gets to reproduce.
Correct.
Even genomically speaking, we can track this mathematically, logically, even as far back as, what was it, 8,000 years ago? Like was it prior or just after agriculture? 1 for every 17 women, and 1 man for every 17 women reproduced. That's selection pressure for you right there. Now, a lot of people say, well, it's because of wars. It's because, you know, men tend to die and be violently much more than women did, right? Yeah, okay. There's certainly, you know, some statistical factors that go along with that, but it doesn't change the fact that even today, something like, was it 1 in 5 or 1 in 8? I can't remember.
I thought it was 40%, but maybe that's rapidly changing with Zers, the millennials, you know.
Certainly. And I've talked about like the fertility rates and everything, you know, being below replacement and all that. And again, it's like coming to this idea that it should be your intellect that is what you're leading with is very pervasive for guys, because it's something that they think that makes them special. So when you talk about, like, when you got these guys who are these special snowflakes, or they want to like pretend that they're some new gender or some like animal, you know, that I
anthropomorphic sexual,
right? And it's like anything that makes them inside. Like, so why is that like so pervasive? And I was thinking about this, and I go, well, 90% of the time it's because guys, well, women too, but like most men want to find something that makes them stand out from the crowd. I'm not like other guys. Okay, well, what are you? I'm demisexual with a backflip of, you know,
sapiosexuality.
Yeah, exactly. Right. It's like whatever I can make up kind of thing that makes me makes me special, when in fact the best form of peacocking would be for you to get your fat ass in the gym and lose weight. Or it would be better for you to accept the world that you're in. Don't wish it were easier, wish you were better. And that's what I see happen a lot in a gynocentric social order. We want to change the game to better accommodate the players of that game, rather than accepting the terms of that game and learning how to kick ass from within that game. Lemmy from Motorhead learned the game and learned how to kick ass from within the game. They were better players than, you know, 90, 100% of the guys. So it's, are you willing to accept the fact that the world is not going to be the way that you would like it to be, or it doesn't seem logical to you? But great, awesome. If you're that smart and you see why things are the way they are, why not become a better player at the game of life, rather than trying to find new ways for people to accept you as being super special from within that game, or trying to change the game to fit your deficits of playing it.
It's easier for me to get ear gauges and some zany tattoos and then a hair bun.
Yeah,
see,
that's,
yeah, exactly.
I'm going to dye my hair purple because that will make me special, and I will stand out in a crowd. Only a special person would do those things. The problem is, and I'm going to quote Syndrome from The Incredibles right now, is once everyone is special, no one is special. Because what have you done? You've just changed the nature of the game. It's no longer the game that you think that you're playing, and you think that it's like that video game mentality, right? Give me the cheat codes let me play on God mode. Well, the problem is if everybody's playing on God mode, it's not the same game anymore. And really, you can't do that in the first place. I see. And again, I'm not just going to pick on like, the fuchsia haired, feminist who, wants to put like animal teeth in and pretend that they're a cat or something like that. It's also guys who are in the black pill. They want the world to change according to what it is that they think that it ought to be eventually, especially on the most extreme ends of that. So it becomes less about like how intelligent you are and how driven you are using that intelligence inappropriately, or like let's just say inefficiently, because you think that everybody should appreciate you rather than playing the game and finding some way to make yourself extraordinary rather than ordinary. Rather than doing that, you're going to sit there and you're going to complain about it and say everybody ought to recognize me as the secret king that I am.
Right. And here's what's worse is there is no cheat code. People think there's a cheat code, and unfortunately, with very intelligent men, I'd say intelligent women as well, that would that probably gives them the brain power to come up with rationalizations and logical theorems as to why people should like them or why they don't have to go to the gym. But just so you know, there is no shortcut. And here's the thing: if you believe in a shortcut, you're going to end up like a lot of Gen X women, spinsters. Yeah. Right? Or 40-year-old virgins if you're the guys, right? Because you are not living in reality. And we're not even really having a discussion about intelligence. If anything, the intelligence, like I said, gives them the ability to maybe self-rationalize and overthink things. And well, if I know morals and principles, and becomes, like you said, a part of their identity. Mm-hmm. But what we're talking about is accepting reality. That's really what it is. It's not an issue of intelligence. This is just an issue of, are you going to be brave enough and courageous enough? I mean, and I do mean those words, not how they've been butchered recently. Ladies, are you brave and courageous enough to admit you're a fat, ugly slob and nobody likes you? Oh, and by the way, men don't like other men's children. Are you willing to accept that? Are you okay? Now you're in the real world. Now you're going to have progress. Are you men going to be willing to accept that you have to be bigger and stronger than the other guy? And especially now, which I understand is a huge deterrent with online media, social media, warping women's expectations, flooding them with attention. I completely am sympathetic with that. But do you accept this is an uphill battle and you have to meet the physical requirements of women, because I've said this before. What do you call someone you really like, but you don't want to have sex with?
What's that? Give me the joke.
Your friend.
Yes. Yeah.
I have lots of female friends. I have lots of male friends. I want to F none of them. You know, that's it. But what makes sex, romance, love, children, the whole thing, the whole point of human is physical attraction. And so that's why I caught actually a lot of flack on one of the podcasts a couple back on Rule Zero. I said, if your wife gets fat, also if your husband gets fat, you have every right to cheat on them or divorce their ass, because the entirety of romance and love to get the girls is based on physical attraction. And if we're not going to start with that, don't start at all.
Man, so, I got into one of the most protracted arguments back in like 2018. I was on the Pat Campbell show and I was talking to his producer, Carly. And I just dropped, I mean, this is something I've been talking about for forever. I said, sex is the glue that keeps a relationship together. Because without that sex, without that physical arousal, that attraction, that desire to want to bang that other person, without that, it fundamentally changes the nature of the relationship that you are in. So every TradCon woman on that show, just like, I can't believe he said that. It's all about sex. It's like, yeah, the reason why you're offended by that is because, first of all, you're probably fat. And so that's number one. Number two is that at some point, women's ability to leverage, let's just say, their sexual agency decays after a while, right? I mean, everybody gets older, everybody gets wrinkly or whatever.
Balloon goes off the flower.
Exactly. Everybody gets old, and women faster than guys, more or less. So the things that make men attractive have more longevity, let's just say, than the things that men are looking for. And so that I think that on some root level, women really lose their shit when you actually bring up the realities of the game that they're in. What do they try to do? They try to create social conventions that change the nature of the game so the player can play better. So that's why we get like, oh, I'm 40 years old. I'm hitting my sexual prime as a woman. No, you're not. That was back when you were 23 years old. But if you can convince yourself and you convince enough guys that that's what they should be after, then guess what you've done? You've changed the nature of the game to fit the deficits of your ability to actually play that game. So that, and I think that a lot of guys do that also, like sort of psychologically. They do that with their own intelligence. What they want to do is they want to find some way to change the nature of whatever it is, the sexual marketplace, in which they are not the best competitors. They could be the better competitors. Maybe they could. They could certainly be better competitors than they are right now. It's not because like guys will say this all the time. They'll say, "Oh, I can't believe those dating coaches. They think that they're gonna teach you how to get 9s and 10s, man. Look, where's the receipts?" Blah, blah. No guy that I know. First of all, I'm not a dating coach. Second of all, no guy in the red pill or guys who have programs and stuff like that are saying, "Hey guys, you're gonna go from being a 4 and we're going to just magically give you this red pill, right?
$5,000
silver bullet, right? And you're going to be suddenly you're going to be a 4 and you're going to be like this guy who likes to watch anime and, eat a whole pizza and, down a 6-pack every week. And Fitness America pageant girls are just going to be clawing your clothes off. No one is saying that. No one is saying that. But guess what they are saying? You can go from being a 4 to being a 5 and then actually engaging with women. Oh, okay. Well, what if I'm a 6 and how can I go to a 7? Yes, you can improve. You can get a little bit better. No one's giving you like the extreme end of that. Nobody's selling you that. If they are, please let me know because they're full of shit.
And here, I'll give you another reason no man has an excuse, intelligent or not. An entire multi-trillion-dollar. Have you gone into the lying industrial complex chapter of the Millennial book yet?
I might have.
Okay.
That's a thick ass book, like I said at the beginning of this show.
I just wanted to make you suffer when I had to read your book. So I'm like, God dang, I got to read this page again.
I'm reading that. I'm going, what the hell is he talking about? My book's being thick.
So there is a multi-trillion-dollar industry. This is in the United States alone. We don't have to go global. Multi-trillion-dollar industry that is geared towards lying to women, and not just lying to women, but maintaining that lie. Maintaining that matrix for women to live in. They will accommodate every female delusion. Dove soap will have fat women. More recently, I think Athleta just had a bunch of fat chicks on their Twitter. Target, they're going to get the fat mannequins. The media is going to tell you that, oh, you're big, whatever. They're just going to tell you. Aside from the occasional con man, who's lying to men? Like, is there this huge multi-trillion-dollar impact? They even go so far as to create jobs for women that have no economic value, like social workers, pre-K, all that other, so they can imagine and make believe they're professionals with their worthless, made up completely. There's another $1 trillion gone, worthless liberal arts or social science degrees. All right. Do men get anywhere near that accommodation or propaganda or lies?
Absolutely.
No. We might get a little bit from your parents and people don't want to tell you the truth. But when you get out there, no one gives an F about you. And so you do not have this artificial matrix to live in delusionally like women do. And especially now with the red pill and people like you, me, and Rich and Ryan and all these guys, we don't lie to you. Ain't nobody lying. In the playground, in the locker room, boys don't lie to you. They beat you up. They tell you the truth. Heck, if we lie to you about someone, it's how much you suck. I mean, that's because we like you, that kind of thing. All right. But you have no excuse. You know exactly what the reality is. Women, I can almost forgive them because there is such an amazing amount of money and resources that goes into lying and propagandizing them. Men have no, you suck. We hate you. You can't do us anything. Women, rah, rah, rah. Tune all that out. Listen to what your friends tell you. Your friends are probably telling you, yeah, dude, you need to lose weight. No, man, you gotta, yeah. So there's no, so you guys, furthermore, you don't have that excuse like, well, society, literally all of society is telling me otherwise. Society is telling you more or less the truth.